G'day, it's Jamie and welcome to Where's My Yowie. Today I'm reading an old newspaper report about a Yowie sighting in the Brindabella Ranges in 1903, so we'll get into it. This was published in the Queanbeyan Observer, dated Tuesday the 17th of March 1903, titled An Alpine Excursion, Notes of a Trip to the Mountains, Rivers, Plains and Caves of the Australian Alps, by the editor, John Gale, the home of the Yahoo. Swift, in his introduction to the Travels of Gulliver, speaks of a tribe of animals with certain human attributes, passions and vices. The work mentioned is, we know, fiction, satire, but there is in reality, as in fiction, such a creature. Out of the vastness of the big mountains and deep scrub tangled gullies west of the upper Murrumbidgee, a strange, shy and wild creature is said to have been seen on several occasions. It is spoken of sometimes as the hairy man, sometimes as the Yahoo. For 30 years past or more, it has occasionally made its appearance in those regions, according to common report. If these reports were not so well authenticated, so abundantly confirmed, as I shall proceed to show, one might reasonably set them down to superstition or the exaggerations of imagination under the excitement of fear. If the evidence before us is worthy of credence, then the creature referred to does exist and is, in all probability, a quadrumanous animal from its description. I had hesitated to refer to the story of the Yahoo here, but on fuller consideration I arrive at the conclusion that not only because it is readable matter, but because the allegations I'm about to narrate ought to be known in the interests of natural science and the zoology of Australia. My informants, the gentlemen who, amongst others whose unsupported statements might be taken cum grano salis, aver they have seen this wild, mysterious creature and are not ignorant persons or superstitiously inclined, they are strong-minded, experienced and educated men. The subject of existence and various apparitions of the hairy man of the upper Murrumbidgee settlers a generation ago, the Yahoo of the present generation, was the topic of conversation at the camp formed by Messrs. MacDonald, Senior, Cox and myself, as mentioned in the earlier passages of this narrative. Mr. Cox was relating what had befallen him when he camped alone in the ranges of Brindabella about 2 years ago on a shooting expedition. He was, he said, enjoying the billy of tea in the afternoon, when his attention was drawn to an enraged cry, between a howl and a yell, in the thick scrub of a gully close by. He instantly seized his rifle and looked in the direction whence the sounds proceeded. There he saw a huge animal, in an erect posture, tearing through the undergrowth, and in a moment it was out of sight before he could bring his rifle to his shoulder. He distinctly heard the crashing of the undergrowth in its flight, and he followed after it. Its speed was greater than that of its pursuer, but as it fled, its howling and yelling continued. That it was no creation of an excited imagination, and from what I know of Mr. Cox, he is not a likely subject of wild hallucinations, but, on the contrary, a remarkably cool, intrepid fellow, too well enlightened and educated to magnify a simple fact into a chimera, is confirmed by this, that in his pursuit he met several wallabies tearing up the gully in such alarm that, though passing close by, they took not the least notice of him. They were followed presently by a herd of cattle, similarly scared. Further pursuit was vain, for the thing had now gone beyond sight and sound. The sceptical may reasonably object that this account in detail of what they might consider the fabled Yahoo needs corroboration. Pity it is that Mr. Cox had no one with him to confirm his testimony. Let the objection be accepted in this instance, but it certainly will not apply to the story that follows. There are no better known, more respected or reliable men in these parts than the Messrs. Webb of Yowie. They are three brothers, Messrs. George G., Joseph and William Webb. They are natives of the district and now elderly gentlemen, sober-minded, matter of fact, and well informed. Yet, if any one of them had had the experience that befell Mr. Cox, his story of the Yahoo would have been equally discredited by the sceptical. It is quite another matter, though, when two of the Messrs. Webb, the brothers Joseph and William, are still with us to tell the story of their adventure in company with this strange beast. They were out in the ranges preparing to camp for the night, down the side of a range to the eastward, and with only a narrow gully separating them from the object which attracted their attention. They first heard a deep guttural bellowing and then a crashing of the scrub. Next moment a thing appeared walking erect, though they say they saw only its head and shoulders. It was hirsute, so much of the creature as was visible, and its head was set so deep between its shoulders that it was scarcely perceptible. It was approaching towards their camp. Now it was in full view, and was of the stature of a man, moving with long strides and a heavy tramp. It was challenged. "Who are you? Speak, or we'll fire." Not an intelligible word came in response, only the guttural bellowing. Aim was taken. The crack of a rifle rang out along the gully, but the thing, if hit, was not disabled, for at the sound of the shot it turned and fled. The two gentlemen, filled with amazement and curiosity, but not alarm, went to where they had seen and shot at this formidable-looking creature, and sought for its tracks in verification of what had happened. There were its footprints, long, like a man's, but with longer spreading toes. There were its strides, also much longer than those of a man, and there were broken twigs and disordered scrub through which it had come and gone. They saw no blood or other evidence of their shot having taken effect. Let these two instances suffice. The gentlemen concerned are all still in our midst to confirm what is recorded. So much for the Yahoo and its home. Someday a shot may bring down a specimen of this strange and rare creature. Till then, let the stories of the Yahoo be regarded as fiction or fact, as skepticism or belief may elect. I have extended this account far beyond anything I had intended or imagined when I sat down to write more on the solicitations of members of the party than for the information of the general reader, though I am gratified to learn on all hands that the narrative has been read with eager interest, and it has been given in instalments, and I have evidence that the publication will not be without its benefits for a large selection of the community. The end. That's another interesting story. These Webb brothers, I did a story earlier on them, and the accounts are pretty vast and different. I think because the first one, it was told by George Webb, who is like dead when this article's written. And then, so the two brothers, they've got a different version of what happened, which I suppose is a good thing in a way that because their stories are different, it's not like that they rehearsed them or anything like that. So, like, I believe that what they saw, they saw. Okay, that's it from me. I'll get back to you all next time. Bye.